I'm not sure that there's a difference between great leaders and cyber leaders, possibly a little bit, we'll see. But I think firstly, authenticity. Maybe with a cyber component, a bit of domain expertise, understanding the nuances of cyber, and I think the willingness to keep learning. I think there's an opportunity both as a public and private sector can be treated individually, but also together. I think there's an opportunity at a national level to drive much more engagement for cyber leaders and help them understand the role that they play. And I think within an individual sector, there's probably something which is more about developing specific domain expertise. But the key thing for both of those is about making sure that they get the support and making sure that that we understand the consequences of any questions or demands they're making around investment, so that it doesn't happen too late. We need to be very much on the board about making the right level of investment now to drive the right level of talent and engagement to solve the problems which are growing exponentially. I think cyber leadership is a core skill for the future. I think whether it is as a cyber leader, running a particular cyber domain in a business or industry, or whether it is a general leader who deeply understands cyber, it is part of our DNA of the future. There's no doubt that it's needed. So the more that people have an awareness, the more they build their own digital and cyber maturity, what I call digital quotient, cyber quotient. As leaders, we often have good IQ, perhaps overestimate our EQ, and arguably sometimes we have not very good DQ, digital quotient, or CQ. So the more that we can develop that kind of individual maturity around understanding the dynamics, the better it will be for us all. Resilience. It is a tough job driving cyber agenda in an organisation, whether private or public. It is demanding of your time because you're never off the clock. There's always threats, something happening. Technical expertise, keeping current in terms of the threat landscape, but I think also influencing skills, the communication. It's very difficult sometimes if you live and immerse in a cyber world that can be quite technical to actually really help drive and influence an organisational change, a cultural change, which is much more around people and slightly softer skills. So that communication, influencing both up and down into the board, really, really important. I think the Cyber Symposium creates a really good opportunity to listen to best practice, to talk across the sector, to fuse between private and public sector. I think we need to do more of that. It's a brilliant networking opportunity for both up and coming and existing. The talent that you get exposed to, whether you are at the end of your career and talking about your experiences, or at your beginning of your career and looking forward to, the opportunity it creates to create that sort of safe environment in which you can really talk about, the nub of the issue is without parallel. I don't know any other symposium in the world that brings that level of sort of, great wisdom and experience with raw talent together in an environment that is safe and fun, and it's just really engaging. I think we should always invest in leadership skills, and cybersecurity is no different. I think there's definitely a zeitgeist at the moment that there's an increasing threat landscape. I think AI and the aspects of AI, whether it's generative AI or deep learning or natural language processing models, are creating an exponential sort of growth in the threat vector. And the more people that have a basic understanding of cyber leadership, cyber awareness, will help. This is about creating cyber maturity in the UK and globally, but particularly here, in Lancaster with Templar. It's about really making sure that from a national level we're really driving, that increased cyber awareness, cyber maturity, and we all have a part to play in that, whether we are a cyber leader or whether we are a leader who needs to understand cyber. It's an honest answer. It's not trite, but everybody. I don't care whether it is, number 10, the Cabinet Office, whether it's national infrastructure, NHS, whether it's, large companies like BP, Shell or British Airways, or whether it's small SMEs. Everybody needs to be investing some shape or form in cyber because it's a collective. We're all part of other people's supply chains. So, brilliant if the NHS is all secure, but its supplier who's, is a small SME, with a sensor is not, because you've just got a back door of making it insecure. So I think this is a national level requirement, and everybody and not everyone can afford to do it at certain levels, but there is an opportunity that everybody should be thinking, having it on their agenda, and we do need to make some of it more free and accessible. So I think there is a government initiative around how do we raise that sort of digital maturity or access to some of it, which could be done. And I think there are then domain experts, whether it's in the medical sector or whether it's the nuclear sector or government, that can then start to drive and invest into particular domain-specific areas. But the short answer is we all need to be doing it. It's not something that we can ignore, not anymore. Lancaster University Executive MBA around cyber, apart from being groundbreaking in the way it's been accredited and the speed at which it's been done, that actually is quite important. The speed at which it's been done has been much more sort of commercial than traditional academic or government sector, because it's meeting a real need. That's the first. Second, I think, is that it's cross-industry, cross-sector, which is really good. So the community, the cohort that's coming through is developing relationships, in a space that will serve them well, like any MBA, where your colleagues go on to become important. I think thirdly, it is the partnership between private and academic kind of environment, which means that you've got very current, there are people like me, cyber leaders and residents, who are coming in to teach on the course, who are bringing domain expertise, real life examples. So I think help to land some of the more educational, theoretical sort of frameworks that need to be taught and make it real. And I think that's really great, and they're current, and I think it provides a different energy. And then I think lastly is, the quality of the course that's been structured, the balance between the kind of the operational leadership and the technical cyber is right. It's not a technology degree in cyber, it is a Master of Business Administration around cyber leadership, and I think that's unique and rare. NCSE certification is incredibly difficult to attain. So the fact that Lancaster have that means that the people coming through that process, right, have reached a level of sort of cyber maturity and understanding without power at this type of engagement. That's got to serve the industry well. The degree of the breadth that creates in terms of networking capability, referencing, understanding, not just the depth, which most people coming on the course will probably have, but it's his breadth. That national certification, is amazing to have achieved in such a short time, but it will be the bar, I think, by which other standing will then start to be judged. I think we need more training and education in leadership around cyber. I think there's three parts to this. There's technical training that CIROs and CISOs need to have, and there's lots of courses you can go and deal with, and that's great. And that will continue, and that's about keeping current, keeping fresh, but it's quite a technical skill. Then I think you've got things like the Executive MBA, which is about leaders of the future having a breadth of understanding, certified to national level, where they have a sort of credibility and a network, and that's definitely fixing the problem downstream. And I think there's a real sort of here and now issue, which is, in the boardrooms, in the C-suite, in the ministries, in the the public-private sector, at that top level, there's a real need for better education around cyber, because these are the people having to understand the decisions, the investments, the consequences. If they can't ask the right questions, understand context, and understand the consequence of that, that's a problem. There's also a large cohort in between those two, right? And I think more things like micro-learning, much more personalised, tailored things, actually now with AI, with deep learning, generative AI, content around avatars, there's a way we can probably use technology to actually sort and scale that middle block. Brilliant, we've got the education piece coming in, that's the future. Great, we've got some sort of what I call defibrillation happening at the top end, fantastic. We've also got to fix the middle, and I think things like the Executive MBA at Lancaster, fix some of that middle, but it's going to be a while before that pulls through. So there are opportunities in education, I think, definitely to do something differently.